Good morning and welcome to the Orlando Real Estate Buzz. I'm Brendan Rendo with the Homes in Orlando team, joined again by Joseph Dion, who's been our world traveler the past couple of weeks. And we're going to talk about something that you're involved in up in Washington, D.C.
Ooh,
So,
DC.
did you say hi to Jerome for us while you were there?
Jerome, I tried to knock on his office door and I saw him, I peered through the side and I saw him crawling out his window. So I don't know, he was avoiding me.
I can believe it. Well, big news, which was not really any big news at all, was we're going to go over the Fed held steady. Jerome talks like a hawk, walks like a dove. I mean, that was it yesterday. That was really it. Boy, it's just we're gonna be steady. We're gonna do this, but you know what? We're not going to do our quantitative tightening quite to the extent that we wanted. Right? Yeah. So, I mean, the headlines, really kind of hit it straight up. The Fed holds at 5.5, top of our range. They're going to slow the quantitative tightening, which kind of understand why they're doing that. And they acknowledge that, guess what? Inflation is a problem again. Hasn't it been a problem for like 3 or 4, 5 months that it's been going back up since August of last year?
No. Well, you've got to get multiple months to know, is it transitory or not?
Yeah, it's not.
3 wasn't enough.
3 wasn't enough?
We needed 6 or 5. Yeah. I don't know what the number was, but you know what? It's a problem now, and the Fed's acknowledged it, which is interesting.
Yeah. So, but instead of raising the rate a quarter of a point, putting continued pressure downward, we're gonna loosen our quantitative tightening that we were our goals there.
That's going to create a little bit more liquidity, right?
Yeah. What's the problem with that?
Doesn't that have a negative impact on inflation typically in a broader scale?
Yeah. But what's the problem with
that? I don't know. Yeah. There's a problem here. I feel like it's on the tip of my tongue. I can't think of it though.
Inflation. But there's no stagflation. That's the difference, Joe. There's inflation, but there's not stagflation because the job market is still rip-roaring along, right?
That's right. Yes, I agree. Yes.
Yeah.
Job market is phenomenal.
Yeah, until we get to the JOLTS report from yesterday.
Well, the JOLTS report, we can't believe everything that we see because the ADP report conflicted a lot of what the JOLTS report said.
It did. The ADP was rip roaring again.
Yeah.
A couple of days ago. So, but let's get back to this quantitative tightening reduction in goal. Your goal was to unwind roughly about 60 billion more of the treasuries. And they cut it to 25 trillion. What do you think was their objective with that?
Well, I think their objective was the volatility in the market, in the bond market, I think played a big part of that. It's been so volatile lately that they kind of said, hey, we need to settle this back a little bit.
Yeah. I think they were scared that the 10-year treasury they were losing control. They were losing control, and I think they were scared it was going to hit 5.
Yeah, and which 5 has been the magic number that is they do not want to get to 5.
Because they get to 5, you've just lost all 4 engines on your plane. It's on fire, and you've got no place to land. I mean, that's basically what would have happened with the economy. It just would have been a crash. And I think
saying that no, simple landing, smooth landing.
Yeah, that soft landing that I think he gave up on that 2 meetings ago now. something like that.
So now he's talking about landing the plane. He's like, we're just going to keep going. We got gas. We'll do some laps. Yeah, the airport is still there. We're going to do some laps. We got plenty of gas.
Hey, get a refueler up there. We really don't have to come down if we don't want to.
Okay. Okay. Now I'm understanding a little bit more of this airplane analogy. I got it now.
Yeah. And it's just because they're dragging all this stuff. And, this whole promise of, hey, 3 rate cuts in 2024.
Right. What did we start? Like in October of last year, I think we got up to 7 rate cuts for 2024.
Yeah.
And then that dropped to 5, and then it dropped to 4. And then even in March, it was 3. Like March, at the end of March, it was still 3.
Yeah.
And then 1 month passed and it goes, JK, now the markets are thinking 1.
Yeah. If possible.
If we're possible.
Yeah. I mean, and you sit here and you're looking at these people and, I call it the betting window, Yeah. So June, right now, we're sitting about 88% saying that they're not going to do anything, which totally agree with.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think it's funny that people aren't saying it's just going to stay neutral. Like some people are saying it's going to go down or go it's not going to do anything, right?
Yep. Yep. So June, you're sitting there. July, you still got 68% of people saying they're not going to do anything. Then you got the wishers, the people who are, just have dreams and aspirations.
You know what those are? Those are the people that are like, if I'm wrong, nobody's going to know. But if I'm right, I'm going to talk about how I was right.
Right. Yep. Yeah. I want names. I want names of the 2.6% who say we're going to have a 0.5 point cut.
Well, you saw Citigroup, their financial analyst came out and said we were still going to get 3 for the year. And I was like, you guys are wishful thinking.
Yeah. Yeah. I love experts.
So, okay. What about September? Are we getting anything in September?
September, we're sitting about 50-50.
Okay. Now I'll say this. I'm going out on a limb. I'm going to say it like I've said it. I still believe we're going to get 2 rate cuts. I still think we're going to get 2.
You do. I don't.
I think the first one is going to come in September, and not necessarily because it has to. I just think that there will be a little bit of politics being played, and it will need to happen
before. Said yesterday, politics never plays a role in their decisions.
Bullshit. Like it will. I feel like it'll come into play. Like I feel like we will see it. But I think kind of what will happen is it'll be a little bit of politics, like a little bit of pressure. I think they're going to do it. And then I think depending on how the markets react, we may see a second one in like December. That's my thought. I think September, December, that's what I'm sticking, somewhere in that range. If we don't get it in September, then I think we only get 1.
Yeah. Yeah. I think if we don't get it in December, I think they wait till January.
Yeah.
I think they wait till January. I think they actually wait to see who actually wins the election. I'm just looking at. You think
that'll be settled by January?
Oh shit. We're gonna go there, huh?
No, I'm just kidding, guys. I'm just kidding.
Oh my gosh. I'm just looking at the numbers, and if we trend the way we're trending, job wise, I mean, when we sit here and we get into the jolts a little bit, you start looking at these numbers. The number of openings are still saying at 8.5 million, which is much less than it was a year ago. A year ago it was over 10 million, correct? And then you look at the number of people who are changing jobs down here, and people aren't changing their jobs anymore. They're not. People are scared that they're not going to have their job.
Yep.
And I tried to find it, and I couldn't find it this morning. There's a report out someone doing the actual unemployment rate versus the reported unemployment rate, they had the actual at 24% and the reported at, what is it, the 3.8. And I was just like, wow, this is huge. This is really huge. But I mean, we just look at it. In March, the number of hires, sitting at 5.5, they're down roughly about 500,000 over a year ago. So, they're it's not as robust as Jerome and the Fed is making it out to be. And that's just frustrating, So, the job market's not there. And then, sitting here looking at our 10-year treasury over the past several days, and you see what's happened. I mean, this is where, right, before his discussion, we had almost broke 4.7 again.
Yep.
And I think that's why they, like you said, they're cutting back on the amount of treasuries, the tightening, because they've got to keep the liquidity in there, because that 10-year treasury, which drives housing, if that thing goes up to 5, I mean, we're slow now. We're toast.
Yeah.
We are just completely going to be toast overall. And that's,
we won't be toast. We'll be like, we'll be burnt.
Crispy on all sides.
All sides.
You're going to have to start wearing a hat all the time, Joe. But this was something I found today, or actually last evening, and I just wanted to share this with people because this was very interesting. This is a chart from Michael Burry's stock tracker, and what it is, it shows the first-time home buyers versus resale home buyers versus investors, 2015 through October of 2021. Watch this chart. Here's 0. The green is the first-time home buyers.
So that's that's not that big. That's only like negative 4%.
4.5. Here we go. Oh, wait. It hasn't gone up yet. We're in the 2017. Oh.
And this was, rates were steadily improving during this time, right?
Yeah.
Like they're pretty
they weren't astronomical. 2018 we're at roughly 5.25. Yeah. Oh, so 2019 come back up a little bit.
When rates started to increase initially, like there's a
so we're sitting about 10%, minus 10%. Coming into the pandemic, you think with all the sales in the pandemic, that's would have gone through the roof.
Wait, it kept dropping during the pandemic? Well, that's because first-time homebuyers couldn't buy anything because it was all remove this, do that. Like,
yeah. But basically, it dropped. We're roughly about a 22% drop since 2015 in first-time home buyers.
Through 2021.
Yep, through 2021.
I don't know. I'd be curious what it is today. I feel like
I
feel like it probably got lower and maybe went. I don't know.
Look at the average age. The average age used to be what, in the mid-20s, early 30s, and now I think the average age of a first-time home buyer is like 38 years old.
Yeah.
So it's
because they're dumb. This is millennials. Yeah. Millennials are stupid. They don't even work hard.
Yeah. Well, then you start looking at the numbers and you see these reports of how much cheaper it is to rent versus buying. The comparisons that, okay, if I buy, I'm going to be $3,200, but I can rent the same size house at $2,400. So it becomes harder and harder for people to justify, even though it's an asset. It's kind of like, okay, I can kind of get that because your first 13 and a half years, you're not paying a whole bunch on your principal either.
No.
And it's quite honestly, it's a cash flow situation. I got, okay, if I do the rent at 2,400, I can still afford to buy a car at $600, $700 payment. You know,
Okay, so they're
I
going
buy a house.
affordable. They're getting a Honda Civic base model.
Actually, the Toyota Corollas are what? They're 20 grand now.
Oh,
You
okay.
know?
That's affordable.
So you look at this and it's like, it comes back to who's going to break first. And right now, I think it's the consumers. The consumer, I mean, credit card debt is up. All the debt is just piling on and on. And
Yeah.
right now I don't have a solid answer for it, because you look at the charts and you see that supposedly the home prices are increasing again.
Yeah.
But then you look at those reports and you look at the numbers here and you see all the price cuts going on.
Yeah.
And I think, I mean, we've really, more than anything, I think we're staying pretty stagnant overall. We sit here and we look at our numbers,
Yeah.
461 last week, the median price seen at $430,000. That really has not changed in over a year and a half in the Orlando area. Our inventory last week kind of just flatlined. Our condos, 133, no big deal, sitting where they're sitting. Inventory went up just a hair. And then, look here, our months of inventory is staying steady above that 3. And then this is interesting because under 250,000, we actually have 4 months worth of inventory.
That is interesting, because you would imagine that investors would be eating those up.
Yeah. I don't know if it's because they need so much renovation. And then when you look at them, people are going, well, I'm going to have to put $40,000 or $50,000 worth of renovation into them.
Yeah.
Is that why they're looking at it that way? Because when you jump to the 250 to 300, we're down to 1.3 months.
Yeah, that's
which
true.
is actually the lowest of all the breakups that we have. So, and we've got, we need to make people aware of this. We've got Hometown Heroes starting up again in just under 60 days now, July 1st. So that program becomes available again, where you can get up to $35,000 of down payment assistance.
Yep.
So you need to be ready. You need to start talking to us now, reach out to us now, so that we can get you ready for that July 1st, because that money was gone quickly in just a matter of weeks. And I think we're going to see a lot of pent-up buyers again. They're going to be in the exact same situation. I think the first week, we may see $30 or $40 million of that $100 million gone. I think there's going to be a lot of
definitely going to have a big hit. There's so much demand, so many people waiting on it. Like, I've got dozens of people that are like, they know it's coming.
Yep.
So it's in neutral.
Yep. And they're just make sure our credit's lined up, make sure we're all approved. And now I don't know, can you sign a contract on the 28th, 29th and process it on the 1st?
Yeah, I guess. Like, the hard part with the program right now is the state issues the interest rate. So I don't even know what the rate is. Like, so that's the hard part. Like, we had an idea, like we know where the market, but whatever the state comes back is what the rate's going to be. And, the first time the money came out, the rate was considerably better than market rate. The second time they added funds to it, the rate no longer was as aggressive as before. And I don't know if that was done because of a risk threshold piece, but I could see maybe I think the second time funds came out, interest rates had improved a little bit. So maybe there was less of a need to be more aggressive. Maybe this time it comes out and they have a big difference, a big spread, and it's more aggressive than market again. But again, it's state dictated. And yes, you can go under contract right before. We're going to know roughly where the rate's going to be. So we'll qualify. And then we would just wait to disclose and all that fun stuff, on the first type thing.
Yep. Awesome. So then we come into our original list. We're sitting right there at the 95, which has been pretty steady over the past couple of weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Days on market, we're still holding, 53 days.
Mm-hmm.
Then, you look graphically, and I still would have thought we'd be up in the 600s. If rates, I think it stayed below the 7%, even at 6.75, 6.875, I think this would have jumped up to close to 600. But with where they're at right now, we're holding it roughly about 450 sales a week as far as the homes. And then, this you can really straighten out, which is average days on market. And then our inventory, after climbing the past several weeks, kind of stayed steady. Mm-hmm. This could actually be a reaction from the sellers seeing the rates going up.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them who thought, hey, we'll put it on. No, we're going to wait again until the rates come down.
Yeah.
That very well could be what we're seeing there. Then we hop into the condo market, and you see months of inventory for our condos. We're sitting at 5 months for the total market in condos. Mm-hmm. So this really, really is a buyer's market. And the under 250, look at this. We got over 8.5 months of inventory right now.
Yeah.
Nobody wants them. I'm looking at a couple for investors, and we're sitting there, looking at, okay, what can we come up with a cap rate? And when you're coming up with a cap rate of, 2%, 2.5%, it's like, no, we're not buying this one.
Okay, makes no sense.
Makes no sense. Let's look at the next one. And you really are. There was a nice one the other day that comp wise, it should have comped out at like 150, 155. They put it in at 130. And it was gone in 2 days. And I was like, okay, if we had gotten it at 130, our cap rate would have jumped to 6 or 7%. We can live with that.
Mm-hmm.
So then you look graphically, man, just flat as can be, averaging 119. And then inventory still not so much, but came back up a little bit. And then you see our average days on market, we're up over 60 days now. And again, it's just going to stay that way with the rates where they are, and majority of condos being cash purchases.
Yeah.
So overall, the market, we're just not really chugging.
Yeah, not chugging.
Not chugging, more like crawling.
Yeah. We're
crawling along. So for buyers, I feel like there can be opportunities out there if we structure the deals right.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the whole thing, is structuring the deals properly for everybody.
Yeah. And I think that's like more than, and that's the hard part. It's like more than ever, having a good mortgage, like a loan officer and a great realtor on your side is going to be it's more important than it's ever been, I think, because of the interest rate market we're in. And also because there is opportunities to negotiate the structure to figure it out. But if you don't I'm going to say this, I have, I have some really, really amazing agents I work with. And then I've got, when every once in a while I have a buyer that goes rogue and uses someone that I don't know or this and that. Mm-hmm. And I get a contract and I'm like, wait a minute, you went over asking, waived your inspection period, waived your finance contingency. Do they realize what market we're in right now?
You're kidding.
And it's a 20-day close. And I'm sitting here going, why are we doing this? And, and the agent's like, oh, well, it's what we had to do to win the deal. And I was like, is it? I'm just living in a different marketplace than everybody.
So you believe what the listing agent is it's kind of like Jerome. You believe what the listing agent's telling you. And it's like, no, I don't think so.
Or and I know you and I have done this on we've had some transactions where, you come back and I talk to you and you're like, hey, we're in a highest and best. And I'm like, hey, are you guys going to increase the offer? And you're like, nah, I think we're good. I talked to the client, we're good. And I'm like, are you sure? You're 10,000 under asking and you're asking for seller credits. And you're like, nah, I think we're good. And then 2-3 days later, here's a contract executed.
Yep.
I'm like, oh, you mean the listing agent was bullshitting you?
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe they had another offer. I'm not saying that they didn't have another offer.
Well, you know what counts, because you get them on every single listing, is you get the investor who just sent you an offer, $80,000 under list price. So technically,
we're
I'm
always
in
in
a multiple offer situation.
Fair enough.
Fair enough, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not lying, because I've got it here on my plate. Here it is. It's $80,000 under. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but yeah, I've got another offer on the table. I'm laughing at it, but
it exists. So too funny.
Yeah. So thank you again for joining us. Please like and subscribe, and we'll see you again next Thursday on the Orlando Real Estate Buzz. Take care, Joe. Have a wonderful day, man.
You too, Brendan.